Hello and welcome back to my channel. I'm Adrienne of Alice Scraps Wonderland. Today I'll be sharing with you how I created this mixed media project as a guest design for Reneabouquets using a whole bunch of her embellishments and elements as well as a few other items that I had on hand. I'll leave a link in the description box below for my blog where you can find all of the papercraft items that I used listed. You can find these floating frames at many stores, and I'm starting by just removing the clear panels on the inside so that I can begin to prep the frame. I start by sanding off this label a little bit and then sanding the rest of the frame to prep it for painting. I'll be covering it in a dry brush of this white impasto paint from Prima Marketing, and I cover the entire surface of this frame with the paint. Once it's dry, I give it a little sand just to distress it a bit more. I then reinsert the panels, and it's time to start decorating. I'll be cutting this lace down to size to fit inside of the frame, and I'm just using a good pair of shears. And I start by cutting off a little more than I need, and then trimming it down to fit. After the lace is cut to size, I'll be tacking down either end with just a tiny amount of glossy accents. We don't need very much glue at this process because we'll be adhering a whole bunch of stuff to the center of the frame, and that will help really hold it in place. Next, I die cut out a small oval of patterned paper. I actually change my mind later on the pattern that I use, but you'll see that as the process goes on. And I like to start by just laying out some of my elements in the shape that I'd like and which elements I'd like to use without any adhesive first, just to kind of get an idea of what it will look like. And also because this is clear acrylic backing and we don't want a whole bunch of messy glue scraped up and left to dry on there. Once I like what I have, I begin by adhering down some of my elements with the heavy-bodied gel. I absolutely love these paper flowers from Reneabouquets. They're always well made and the colors are stunning. As you can see, I'm choosing to cut off some of the stems just to make this a little cleaner and simpler in lines. I continue to dry fit that oval and just see what I need to help hold it up and make it sturdy. And I'm just using another flower to pop right into the center. You won't really see it, but it helps hold that little paper oval up perfectly. What I love about heavy body gel is that it has a long work time, so if you decide you don't like the placement of something or you want to exchange something like I do later in this video, you have plenty of time to do that. Once I have my first layer of flowers in place, I move on to altering a piece of resin. I'm using Tim Holtz Distress Spray Stain and Distress Oxide Spray in Kitsch Flamingo for this process. I start by spraying a little bit of the product on, spritzing it with a bit of water to activate it, and then I mop up the excess to bring back in those white highlights. This allows the product to just pool into the crevices and show off that depth and dimension. I then glue this element down onto the paper oval, and I add just a few more paper flowers on top for more texture. Next, I thought I would put on a butterfly, but I decided to set it aside because I didn't want to bump it while doing the next step. I'm adding these 4 filigree corner chipboard pieces to the corners of this frame, and I'm just using a tiny bit of collage medium to adhere them in place. Once the chipboard pieces are down, I add the butterflies. I'm also adding these to 2 corners of the frame. And then I add some very small rosebuds to each of those butterflies. And here's where I decided that I didn't like the paper that I had, and I swap it out for something else. I also wanted to add some die cut leaves in that same pattern paper, and I cut a whole bunch out. I shape them with my fingers, and then I add them and tuck them into places. You can see I'm adding one more rosebud there, and then I move on to the final steps, which is adding a little bit of sparkle to this project. I'm applying a little bit of the glossy accents to all of the paper flowers, and then I will be sprinkling the glitter glass onto them. Once all my flowers are covered, I shake off the excess, and then I add a few sparkly jewels to my project. The final touch is a curio knob onto the top of the frame, which I adhere with a little bit of heavy body gel. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed this project. Be sure to like and subscribe for more content like this. See you next time.